Hey friends, this is Tana from Proverbial Homemaker, and today I have another fantastic homeschool resource review for you. I am a homeschool mom of six. At the moment, my youngest is 7 and my oldest is 16. And we are year-round homeschoolers, which means we always have time to evaluate homeschool curriculum and resources, which is always fun for me. And starting in about upper elementary school, we like to give our kids more choices when it comes to choosing the topics and the materials that they want to learn about. It just really helps them to own their education, to be more invested in what they're doing, more interested and committed to what they're doing instead of just getting their marching orders from us all the time on what topics and materials to use. And especially as they get into junior high and high school, we want to help them to pursue their interests and their passions more and more. Now, this last year, I guess we're sort of coming toward the end of our 10th grade year for my oldest. He mentioned that he wanted to learn animation. And, we looked at some YouTube videos and playlists, and they were okay, and he learned a few things, but he really wanted something more. And so I went on the hunt to look for something that was more organized, more pulled together, that had quality content and lessons to sort of guide him through those first steps of learning animation, to familiarize himself with the tools available and, set him up for success in case it's something he really wanted to pursue later. So through, various homeschool circles, I noticed one particular recommendation that stood out to me was the animation course. You can learn about it at theanimationcourse.com. It's created by a former Disney animator, so lots of great experience. It's perfect for ages 11 through 18 years old. And one of the things I really like about it is the classes are all 1 quarter long, which is about 12 weeks, which is perfect if you want to start in the middle of the year or, get a few levels in during the course of the year. There are 5 levels for the animation courses that they provide. And their goal is really to create stories, to help your children create stories and animate them and make their own little short films. So it's super fun. They also have some drawing courses. They have 2 levels for drawing. They have the fundamentals and drawing for animation. There are also various formats and options available for each of the courses. So like I said, go to theanimationcourse.com to look at those options. But really quick, I'm just going to share with you what's available. So for the drawing and animation course options, there are 3 formats that you can choose from. The first one is live. So the live courses are, scheduled weekly, that you have live interaction with the instructor via the chat box during the class. There's grading of the assignments and then feedback for the assignments. And the second option is recordings with grading. So rather than attending the live event, if you attend the live event, you can get recordings of it later to watch if you miss one, for example, or if you want to watch it for reference. But the second option is just the recordings rather than the live class, but also with the grading and feedback and everything. And for both the live and recordings with grading classes, they also have the option of extra sessions that are called open art or open animate sessions, where the students can join the instructor via, the virtual environment that they have, and the instructor just, gives them more tips and information and sits there and draws or does animation, and your child can draw and do animation on their own alongside them. It's just this fun little open art, open animate session. My son really enjoyed those. And then the third option, which is the most frugal option, is the recordings without feedback. So you would get recordings, pre-recorded sessions that you can watch at your leisure, and then you don't get the grading and feedback, which is, the benefit of the live and recording with grading sessions. So for level 1, my son did the live class for the animation course. And like I said, it's a 12-week class, so it fit in perfectly for the second part of our school year. And one of the things that was really interesting is that you get your choice of tools. So the 3 tools they recommend that your students use is Maya. And Maya is a 3D animation course or 3D animation tool that you can get. It's a really amazing, robust tool that professionals use. And normally it would be completely outside the budget for homeschoolers, but you can get it if you're in an organization or belong to a membership that has access to it. You can get it for free. So we belong to HSLDA, so we were able to get it free through them. So that was fun. We spent some time playing with that. He ended up using a different tool, but it's one of the options that is available to you. The other ones they recommend are Toon Boom or Flipbook, and with Toon Boom you can buy it through the animation course for a discount, and they will break this all down on their site. If you go to their site, they explain the different features of each of these tools and the benefits and the different things to think about as far as cost and logistics and everything. And all of the lessons for the animation courses include video instruction for each of those tools and some technical support if people run into issues with those. But if your student already has access to some other animation tool, your child can totally use that during their course, and it's fine. They don't have to use anything in particular. They can use whatever they want. The only caveat is that there's no, specific instruction for that tool in the course, and they're not going to get technical support during the class from the animation course for those tools. But my son ended up using Procreate, which is a tool we already had through my husband. So since we had access to that, he used it and it worked totally fine. So if you have questions about the tools, go ahead and contact them and ask questions about that. That will really help. So my son had a great time using the animation course during this quarter. It was really laid out. It goes through the history of animation and the principles of animation. It's very comprehensive in that. And then it gives them assignments that will help demonstrate their animation skills that they're learning. And my son actually mentioned this as one of the things he really liked, that each class lesson that they had was formatted in the same way, where it would go through animation theory and animation history and then give them animation practice with the lesson that they were going to be doing. And he also learned a lot about the different types of animation tools available out there. So he really liked that format. Now, one of the biggest pluses for the live classes and the classes that are recordings with grading is that your student will get a personalized review of each of their lessons. So they will attend the class or watch the recording of the class. They'll do the assignment, they'll submit their assignment, and then they'll have feedback provided by a team of graders who have experience in the animation field. And many of these graders are actively working in animation, so they know what they're talking about, and they can give really helpful, constructive feedback and encouragement to your child. And they do that by providing a video where they kind of play their animation and give tips and encouragement and give suggestions. And then they'll give a grade, and then they can resubmit it later with the improvements that were suggested. So it's a really excellent process. It's really in my view, where the main value of those two class options come in. You don't get that feedback and interaction with the recordings only class. So that's just something to keep in mind and consider. A couple other things my son said he really liked. I already mentioned the open art and animate sessions. He really enjoyed that. He got to ask questions or watch the instructor practice some and just kind of get an idea for how it works and get some inspiration. And then he would work on some of his own at the same time. So those are fun sessions for him to do. I asked him what his favorite assignment was, and he said it was one called Curious Character, and where he would hand draw a character that would show that it was curious about something. And he took a couple different passes at that, but it was really fun to hear him brainstorming about what his idea was for that and to see him working on it. And then to take the feedback he was given and rework his assignment and his animation and resubmit it. He was really happy with that and enjoyed that process. A couple of things to note about the course. It's really important that your child turn their work in on time. So there's a little bit of leeway. They have about a week where if they turn their assignment in a little bit late, they still get a chance to get that interactive feedback that's so valuable. But if they go past the week, they no longer have that. They'll get graded, but they won't get that valuable feedback. So that's really important to kind of keep in mind and make sure your kids are turning their stuff in on time. If your child is already really into animation, then this is a good class for them. They'll learn different tools for animating. There's a parent meeting that they have at the beginning of this class, and normally I'm the kind of mom who's like, I don't need to go to that, or I'll watch it later, then I never do. I decided to go to that parent meeting this time. It's a virtual parent meeting, and I'm really glad I did, because a lot of parents asked questions that I hadn't thought of, and I got to ask some questions myself. It was really helpful to kind of get a better idea of what was involved in the animation course and the different options available to us as far as tools and everything. And that's one of the things that they stressed was, you as a teaching parent still need to be, watching what your kids are doing and helping them, make sure they're turning things in on time and that they understand what is expected of them and things like that. And one of the things that they mentioned during that class is that some students, especially the ones who are really into animation and are even possibly thinking of it as a future career choice, will go through all 5 levels, so it can get pretty advanced. They'll go through all 5 levels, and sometimes they'll even do them over to learn a different tool. So they might do the first pass with a hand drawing app like Toon Boom, and the second time they might go through again learning the different tools and techniques that you can do with Maya, for example. So if you have a kid who's really into animation, that's something to keep in mind as an option. Now, if you have a student who just wants to dabble in animation or explore that skill, that's where my son fell in, and it's still a fantastic resource, and I recommend it. He really enjoyed it and learned a lot. You do, I think, have to sometimes pay a little bit closer attention and have some conversations with them, not only about turning things in on time, but also just make sure that they're not intimidated by some of the other students who might have more advanced drawing or animation skills already. Encourage them to look at that as inspiration and encouragement, to interact with the instructor and reviewer and ask questions if they need to, and to aim for progress over the course of the whole class. Once I realized that my son had kind of hit a roadblock with that, and it was he kind of just lost his confidence to be able to do the assignments that they were giving him. And I'm like, no, look at the things you've learned, and you've grown in this area, and the goal is to progress overall and to learn new skills and to have fun. And once we kind of adjusted his perspective on that, he really enjoyed it and finished well and had a good time with it and learned a lot. Another thing I recommend is finding some follow-up activities that your kids can do after class is over or while they're waiting for the next one to start, just so they can practice some of the skills they learned and continue to enjoy the things that they learned. So I knew that with some of my other kids who really enjoy drawing, that there are drawing challenges out there, and I figured they must have some for animation too, and they do. So you can look up 30-day animation challenges and find different simple calendars with very simple prompts, and just have your children slowly go through them at their own pace and practice some of the skills they learned from their animation class. That's really fun and simple way to kind of keep that learning and that enjoyment going. Overall, we had a fantastic experience with the animation course, and I definitely recommend checking them out. Take some time to go through their website and look at the animation classes and the other classes they have and the formats that are available. Evaluate what is best for your budget or the features you want. Like I said, the biggest benefit of the live and recordings with grading courses is that you get that interaction with the instructor during the class, and you get the feedback, which is so valuable, from people who are currently in the field of animation, and so that's incredibly helpful. But just weigh those things and consider what is going to work for you. We are going to go ahead and try one of their drawing classes using just the recordings option and see how that goes. But it's really nice to have a tool like this and a resource like this available for homeschooling, especially for those whose kids are just really interested in animation. So I hope that review was helpful. I've left some links down for you below so you can check out the animation course, or you can contact them directly. So happy animating and have a wonderful homeschool year.